Happy Tuesday, everybody. And welcome to Marriage Motivating Moments with yours truly, Emmanuel and Elianah Avraham. We are so glad you decided to join us once again. Thank you for being here. And can I say right now, if you could just do us one big favor, can you please go like, share, tag somebody, invite somebody to join the conversation tonight. We are talking blended families once again. What? Oh, he don't like when I say blended families. We are talking what, babe? What you want
about families?
We are talking families once again. So please, you can go and tag and share and like and listen. If you know somebody who's not a social media guru, they can always go check us out. We are on YouTube as well, so they can go back and check out the replay there. But we are so grateful that you decided to join us. We realize that you could have chosen any other stream at 7:00 p.m. tonight, but we are grateful that you are here with us. So welcome back. We got some goodies for y'all tonight. All right, go ahead, boo. I'm excited. I feel excited.
I'm just bubbling.
My energy.
Right
I don't know. I'm just excited.
That tells
God
you
is
what kind
good.
of night I got after the
absolutely
show.
Not. Your wife is tired.
Oh, don't be acting like you tired now. We had that show.
We partied last night. We was at the sneaker ball.
Yeah, but that's okay. And I want to say to our listening audience, thank you again for your continued support. For those that when you're not able to catch us live, you go and you hit it on the replay. It's always up on the top of our page, each broadcast after that show, so you can always come back and see it. And I want to say happy belated Mother's Day to all those fabulous mothers out there. Every day is Mother's Day, and you should be honored as a queen every day in that kingdom with a real bona fide king. All right. Yes. So we're going to get to this tonight.
Happy Mother's Day. And then you forgot something else, baby. You didn't tell our audience.
I'm telling our audience. Oh, get your pen and pad for a second, because you need to take some notes down tonight.
No.
And then also want to give you up. I'm going to say it down so you'll know. Our next broadcast will be on Wednesday. Okay. It'll be the only one that's going to be on a Wednesday, but on Wednesday, May 25th. At 7 p.m. Marriage Motivated Moments live broadcast. And we got some special guests, but we wanted to hit you with a little more substance today on some very key points that help you with these families, with these children that are added to families as a result of marriage and individuals having children beforehand.
Let me help you with this family, honey, because you didn't wish your wife a happy birthday to all of our listeners.
Your birthday,
it was May 5th, but you didn't say, and please help me wish my wife a very, very happy birthday, because I would have said that for you. I would have said, you all weren't here, we weren't on, but on May 5th, my wife celebrated her birthday. She turned 59. So please celebrate my wife and give her some shout outs and some rounds and some hearts, yada, yada, yada.
Everybody would have seen it. Everybody would have seen if they've been to our page. That's all I've been broadcasting.
Honey, but it's not the same. But okay, whatever. Next. Go ahead. I thought you was going to do it. I did, but okay. You didn't. So next. Go ahead. Go ahead, babe. Go ahead with your introduction. You want me? Because I got people that sent questions in. You want to jump right into it?
No, you just go right on into it.
Okay, well, let's jump on into it. All right. We going. But I wanted you to go ahead with your intro, boo. Go ahead.
I don't have an intro.
You do.
No, I don't. You just killed it.
Oh, but you got a whole list over there, so I'm interested in what you have to say. But anyway, yeah, we're going to go into and have this conversation just a little bit more. And during the past couple of weeks, we had some people write in with some great questions. I want to say that as well before we get started. If you have questions, topics, subjects that you'd like for us to have a conversation about, you can DM us on our Facebook page. You can message us on IG. You can hit us up on our email, marriagemotivatingmoments@gmail.com. And also you can, again, like I said, you can do it on our YouTube page. So, but we love the feedback. We love your questions, and we want you to continue to have the conversation, because it's not just about us. It's about us building families together and working together to keep marriages and relationships strong. So if you see me looking down, I'm not distracted. I am actually reading the comments or reading questions from people that have sent them in. Okay. All right. So here we go. I thought this was a good one to start with anyway. And this person writes in and says, when you have blended families, what if the two different parents have different parenting styles? How do you manage to bridge the gap with the parenting styles? You want to talk about that?
No, you can finish.
No, we're going to answer that question. How do we bridge the gap with our different parenting styles?
Well, I think first of all, people have to communicate and share what do they expect from the family and what do they expect from their children. I have to keep you informed and share with you as it relates to if my son before we got married and your son and how you approach him. But I was able to personally, I study. So I was able to study the human nature. I was able to study how you interacted with Nasik, with Christian when he was young. And I was able to learn from that. And at the same time, I was also able to look at, some of the things that I saw that needed to be addressed. So that's basically how I approach that. And I think you'll hear, I even explain it in a minute in some of the information that I would need for you to write down and go back and discuss it within your household with your spouse, and then also some of it even with your children.
I think for me, our parenting styles were, I was and I still am very much the disciplinarian. So I was the type of mom where I didn't have to call my husband in to discipline my children. So I have 5 boys. Well, I've birthed 4, and then my husband and I, as you all know previously, he had a son who was 2. So I always say I have 5 boys. And so I was very much the disciplinarian. So I never was that parent who said, wait till your father gets home and we're going to deal with it, yada, yada, yada. I never was that person. And even with his son, because his mother was very much involved, I had to kind of try to not be so as rigid with him as I were with my sons, because of course I could take my sons and give them a spanking with no problem. But as you all, those of you who checked us out before, I did not put my hands on his son. I was not allowed to discipline him in any way, physically or anything like that. So for me, it was more so, like taking things from you or something like that, but not actually beating my children. I was never, and for me, I was not the person who wanted to beat my children. Like my sons will tell you. Now, my oldest son, the 40-year-old, he might have got hit maybe 5 times in his entire life, because he was just that. He was a great kid. And even the times I hit him, my family would be like, he didn't deserve to be hit. He was and I'm not going to say perfect, but he was a even killed.
What are you talking about? You used to pop him. I had to stop him. Like you used to bust his chest.
Oh, open. I know you ain't. No. A couple. That's what I said. Maybe 5 times, and he'll tell you that he can't. He can't recall me beating him like that. Uh-huh. I didn't beat him. Like he got hit a couple times. I might have slapped him. I might have punched him or something like that. But it was not a constant. He was not that kid that had to get beat. He was a wonderful, wonderful child. That's what I was saying. So I didn't have to have this whole thing with disciplining or beating him. And for 9 years, it was just him and I. Okay, so for a long time, it was just me and him. And he was he's still a great individual, but he was a wonderful, wonderful baby. And even in the times that he did get popped, it was almost like he didn't deserve them. But like I said, I was a disciplinarian, so I didn't have to say things 2, 3, and 4 times in order for him to get his attention. Now, when my other children come home, when we became a larger family, I became more of a disciplinarian. And even with my son Elijah, he said he can't really remember me beating him a lot. Now, on the other hand, they all say he was the mean one, that he beat them and punched them and all that. Oh, they have to tell the story. Yes. You were very much the strong arm. And so that's why I didn't I wasn't really like that with my boys, because
we're gonna get to that in my
he was enough. He was enough. Okay, well, go ahead. I'm just saying. So the question was, what happens if you have two very different disciplinary styles? And I don't think my husband and I had two different disciplinary styles. He was very much the disciplinarian as well, but my husband was also the type that, you know, when he said something, you know, you were scared. You know, he had the fear of Shaheed in my boys. You know what I mean?
Let me give you this, because I have 8, starting off, I have 8 ways to build relationships with your children and your family that's not your biological. Excuse me.
So say it how it's written. I know you don't call them stepchildren, but you got written there with your stepchildren.
But it's with your children that's not your biological child. Okay. Now, step number 5, I'm gonna jump to it because it brings to this point. Let the parent discipline. Encourages that, especially in the early days of a new family. The parent should do the discipline, not the non-biological parent.
Not the step parent.
Not the non-biological parent.
You okay. Say step parent, babe. It's okay.
Before you can achieve a disciplinarian, you have to earn something more than just the child's perfect behavior. Until they know you and trust you better. Okay. When they trust. Get them to know you, you get to know them. You can't expect them to listen to you simply because you're the new person on the block. You're the new man in the house. You're the new woman in the house. And so that doesn't mean you will never be the disciplinarian or the person that disciplines, but you want to start the process slowly. So sometimes people get into a situation in the beginning and they want to be actively involved in the rule making and not the discipline. And then when those rules are broken, okay. So at the present, what needs to happen is that it should be a joint thing. But when you start off, I have to be with my son. I should be the disciplinarian and she should be with Christian. Now, of course, now we can talk about it because we done developed, we done had 30 plus years in marriage, we done raised our children and etc. So you go from trial and error. So hopefully this can help somebody else out there in terms of how to properly handle that situation. And then I want to go to point number 1. That was point number 5. And I only jumped to point number 5 because we had this particular question and this comment. But point number 1, watch out
you go to 5, babe, I think that
I just did 5.
I know, but before you go to 1, I wanted to say, and again, this is stuff that we've learned now because that's not really how it went in our household. Like we didn't know that. Yeah, because you were disciplining from the door.
The fact of the matter is that I'm the master of the universe blessed me with sons, and they got my blood. And there's certain aspects in my blood that's in my DNA. And if you don't take control of it from the onset, it'll rule you and then they'll do other things. So I was a no nonsense when it came to certain things because I knew the nature in terms of what I'm dealing with. And based on my history and my childhood and my upbringing, that there's certain nature that's in the DNA that you have to rebuke and not give it life or allow it to rule or to breed its ugly self. That's just a reality for me, and it worked. So see, the thing is with me, and this is the thing with most parents, I'm not trying to be your friend. I'm your father. I'm a man. So I'm not trying to be your friend. So yeah, when you see daddy, and you see Abba and you not right, he gonna come and take care of that business with you. So I'm going to give you love. I'm going to give you tough love. And if you're out of place, I'm going to give you something that you get you right back where you need to be. And that's the problem with most of our young men. And that's why they ended up in the streets. Because the streets ain't soft on you. The streets are straight up, and you got to be able to handle your handle. So therefore, my handle and my dean was being that man and being balanced with it. But I want to give you point number one. That was part of point number 5. Point number 1, watch out for unrealistic expectations. Take small steps in building a relationship with all of the children, especially those that's not your biological child. Take small steps with building a relationship. Focus on building a respect from them before you expect them to have a loving relationship with you. You cannot expect your non-biological children to respond to you with love and passion as your own. Because see, the thing is, with our own children, we can knock them on their behind, we can beat their behind, they can go to their room, be angry and mad, but they're going to still come back down and still love mommy, and they're going to take them some time with daddy because, daddy, what he is. But they still, for the most part, going to still love you because you that parent. When you're not that parent and you discipline them, there's a different reaction because of other factors that are involved outside of your household, and the results also because there's another parent. So you need to take small steps. Don't look for the big, oh, I love you. Oh, you my dad, you my mom, you're the best thing in the world. Nah, don't work that way. So you gotta watch out for unrealistic expectations. Number 2.
Let me say something. Wait, can I interject?
I want to get my points out.
Well, I might forget something.
Well, write it down. Number 2.
Listen,
encourage.
The other thing, no, I'm not doing that. The other thing is that I think that's real important is that you can't force. It's important, and I learned this in our own relationship. Don't force the relationship. You just have to let it be organic. You just need to let it happen organically and truly. And so even with me, that's why I would tell my husband, don't make them call me anything. Let it happen organically. What they might want to say, Miss Connie. I might not be the Ema to them. I don't have to be mommy. Let it happen organically. They might not say anything for the first month. But and hearing him now, and like he said, over the years we have learned, because I really felt like their relationship with me was forced, like they were made to want to like me, made to want to be around me, made to, and I don't think that.
Let me say this.
But let me finish. But as they got older, we developed that relationship.
As they got older, they was forced by outside entities to not see you in the light that they were seeing you, because as a child, they were infants, they were babies. So they only knew you as they were taught here. But once that took real hold and things went on, and other factors from bitterness and jealousy and envy and XYZ outside of us, started to interject, then that's when things started to break down. And at the same time, we started to reinforce and recognizing that, somebody else is saying something else to them. So therefore, with my babies, they came as infants. So they didn't know nothing else. They grew they laid in the bed with us. They did this, that, and other. We nurtured, changed their pampers, their diapers. So therefore, they didn't have all they knew was what was before them. It was when they started getting older and whatnot, and that bond started to develop, then other factors did not want that bond to get strong as it was getting, as it relates to you. And then therefore, and then also, then to me also, because there were some things I heard and it was said, and you got to be careful what you say to children. See, that's the other thing. You got to keep, I'm being very honest. You got to keep kids out of grown folks' business. You cannot, you can't speak ill of a parent to another child because that parent done moved on with their life, or they're doing certain things and you no longer a factor in it. And then when that child goes back to that other home, then they carry in that bitterness that they are inheriting. That's where they get that learned behavior from, because they didn't have that. So when we started seeing those kind of changes, those became challenges. The other thing is this, be supportive. Number 3, be supportive. Recognize the importance of the children in the relationship with the other parent. Be supportive. Try to encourage them to, when they come to you and they say something about they come to be home with you, or they went on a visitation, or they visited at your home and they say something about the other parent, just try to, even if you may disagree with the other parent, don't badmouth the parent in front of the children. Try to be supportive. Do not seek to replace them. So you got to let the kids know, especially with people who got teens. Don't try to say, oh, I'm going to replace your father, or I'm going to replace your mother. No, I'm not trying to replace your parent. But if you in my home, I'm going to care for you. I'm going to provide food, clothing, shelter. I'm going to have structure and X, Y, Z. So, but rather focus on creating a new relationship with those children. Okay. And be sure to be yourself. Don't be fake with it. Be who you are. Don't sugarcoat who you are. Don't be extra nice and this, that, and the other. Be who you are, so that they, just like you want to accept them, and they have to accept you. Okay. So therefore you want to be yourself. Okay. So, and then here's the fourth point, because I gave you 5, it go 4. Be sure to partner with your spouse. Be sure to partner with your spouse. You and your spouse will need to be in constant, open communications. Understand it. Constant and open communications about the family. Be mutually supportive of each other and make joint decisions regarding the family. Not just my way and not yours, or my way or the highway. You understand what I'm saying? See, you learn through the years. I mean, my wife, she's just so amazed at my human development. Ain't God so good that he just brought me a mighty long way? But that's beside the point. Everything happens at the will of the master of the universe. There's certain things and certain journeys that you got to go through in your development, or whatever it is. The fact that I'm making is, as we enjoy this particular moment and in this dispensation of time, that we really recognize his beauty and his blessings for where he brought us, because now we are able to bless other people because we got something to tell. We got a story to tell. We got something. We've been through something. So these 30 years represents some true testimony. So what I'm saying to you is this. So be supportive. Prepare yourself. And I'm going to tell you this here on this point. Prepare yourself for the biological child comeback when you do discipline. This is why parents got to be supportive of each other, because the biological child is going to start saying, well, you picking them over us? You love her now more than you love us? Oh, you don't love me no. Daddy don't love me no more. Mommy don't love me no more. She loving him now. He say what he say go. She believing in that man. She picking that man over our children. He picking that woman over us. He believe what that woman said. See, then they start playing on your psychology with that. See, children can be very manipulative, and especially biological, because then they're hearing it from other people. Because then other people will say to them when they're not around, oh, daddy said this, or Emma said you couldn't do this. Oh, so what did your father say? He said this, that, and other. He joined in with her. He support whatever. He yes her, whatever she said. I ain't no henpecked Negro. Excuse my way of saying this. But the point of the matter is, we have something that we agree with and that we're going with, and that's the way it's going to be. You're not going to alter our rules in our home. So therefore, you got to be very careful and not allow your children, especially biological children, to come back and play on your sensitivities and things in that nature. And now I'm thinking that, okay, am I putting this man? This is your husband. This is your wife. Of course they coming before you, but you can go on, because I got 3 more points on this particular point. Ooh, but if you want to add something, if you don't, then I'll continue on.
No, I wanted to. It's a couple of things, and then I wanted to address the things that you were saying were true. But what I was getting ready to say to add to it was that, yes, that was true when they were younger, but then as they began to get older, they became teenagers, then they began to know who I was and understand who I was as a person, and not what somebody else was able to feed them. And that was only because I literally set the 3 of them down and we had a long conversation. My husband was not even there. And we had a very, very long talk, probably 2-3 hours, about my story, how I felt, how I came to know everything. And they were shocked. They was like, we knew nothing. We did not know anything about any of this. And I think that was the turning point for me and their relationship. Somebody asked me, what do they call me? They call me Ima. Ima means mommy in Hebrew. That is what my husband gave. They said you can call her Ima because that is what he decided, and that's what they've been calling me ever since. They don't call me mommy. They don't call me Miss Connie.
They've been calling you that.
Call me
let's
Ima.
Understand something. They've been calling you that ever since they knew how to say hi or say their first
but
word.
Yeah,
there's nothing else. I mean,
but
so this is not some kids that they were running around and they knew how to talk. When they learned to talk, that's how.
My thing was that you taught them to call me Ima. They didn't just pick Ima out the sky.
I understand that. But the point I'm making.
That's what I was saying. That's what you told them to call me. So that's what they ended up calling me again. But after they got older, and we began to have the conversation, like I said, outside of their father, not in his presence, we talked and we began to have those conversations amongst us. Then our relationship began to turn, and it began to turn for the better, because then they began to know who I was and the understanding of who I was.
Baby, let me say this, okay? The relationship was fabulous from the start. When they got older, like 8, 9, 7, poison was injected and it went another way. Then when they got too close to 12, 13, 14, 15, we went through this trial for custody and everything else that I did to win custody of them. And poison was interjected. That's why certain scriptures say, be careful of the whisperer, whispering evil and deceit and distortion. And so then she knows that at that point, she moved from being called Ima to her or she. And so then we knew what we were up against. So we did not throw in the towel. We went to work because we knew that we had to be bigger than children, and children were being used as a pawn. So therefore we recognized that. And as a result of that, we stood in the fight. And then she started to engage them on another level to help heal them of the misconceptions and things. And I'm gonna tell you why I'm saying this, because it got to the point, tell you an incident, right? And I got to say this because my wife showed incredible strength because she was tested one day. Visitation, mother came to pick up the kids. She's going to park a car right dead in the center of our driveway. My wife pulled up to go in her driveway. She wouldn't move because she wanted to prove a point. And I'm not trying, this is just the strength that I saw my wife has. And she wanted to prove a point to the babies, that you ain't gotta listen to her. You listen to me. I'm your mother. So it got to that baby mama drama crap. You know, that Medea crap. I mean, I could have came out of the house like Medea, but Barry Max, hey, listen here, I ain't trying to hear this up in here. But this thing right here, that sent her into another spirit, and I had to pull her back. Okay. And then some words was exchanged, some ill words was exchanged to her. I mean, you blocking my driveway. I'm trying to go on my driveway. You're going to let me sit in the middle of the street till you finish the conversation because you're trying to prove something. So it got to that point. So she didn't want to feed into that and show up, come in the house, take off the earrings, put on the Vaseline and do this here, come out of there and put on her raggedy jeans and go out there and handle the handles. So she didn't want to do that because of the children and because of the children were there. So she didn't belittle herself. So the point I'm making, she was tested at that point. And the Master Universe gave her incredible strength and spirit and guidance and wisdom to use. So what my point is that's when things went chaotic because of the binding that was taking place and how they started to see her in such an honorable way. Okay, and whatever. No, Ima said I got to do it this way. Ima said this looks better. Ima said we got to color coordinate. We got to organize it. Ima said we got to do. So sometimes people get tired of hearing that when another person is doing so well. in the development of your children. So the point I'm making is, see, you got to keep a constant communication and development and a plan so that you do not allow the outside foolishness to come in your home, to disrupt your home, to disrupt your relationship. And so you got to build that relationship with these kids. So she saw it more fitting upon her as being the spiritual woman that right. instead of going at the mother, she attacked the evilness and not show the children that she can belittle herself, so that therefore it just exposed the ill that they witnessed that didn't come from her. And afterwards, we knew then for certain what we already suspected, that we had to really spend some time and to try to help them as much as possible through this process, regardless to the manipulation. Because one thing is for certain, I don't care what no man, brother, I'm gonna tell you this this is a fact, and ain't nothing you can. It is something about a woman and her influence over children that she carried for 9 months in her womb. There is something about children's reaction based on, and that's why women have to be very careful in how they carry themselves and what they demonstrate in front of their children, and especially even if you got a little princess. So the point I'm making is,
even if it's your adult children, it's
yes,
it's still the same. Like
it's still the same.
Your adult children can still be pawns in the game. That other parent, would be it the mother or the father, can still be the pawn in the game and try to use it to destroy your family unit that you're working so diligently to build. So we have to be careful. It's not just about the babies or the young teens, adult children. You know, I ain't talking to, I don't like her. You know, so now you got a father and a daughter who have a great relationship, but the daughter don't like the new person that you're involved with, and so then that daughter tries to bring in division because she go home and she have conversations, or she call her mother on the phone, oh yeah, I went to see daddy and so was there, and this, that, and the other. It's a continual cycle, and like my husband said, unless the two of you work together to break it and understand, because at the end of the day, I'm going to make love to this man. I'm not going home to be with his children nor their mother. I'm going home to be with you. Always gotta be silly. I'm going home to be with him. So that has to be my focus at the end of the day. It's him and I. And like he said, we had to be on one accord. Now, there was some times when I say, but you didn't have to say it like that, or you should have brought me in the room and say, but like he said, those were learning curves, you know what I mean, that we learned together as we went along. And another thing I wanted to interject is that those conversations have to be had, and they need to be had outside of your children. And don't do it when it's heated and you're angry and sometimes you got to take a moment, you know, and back up off the situation. Don't even bring it up, and wait till the right time. And a lot of times the time may not be never. It might be on the next occasion. That moment might not be the moment to go at it with your partner, with your husband, with your wife, with your mate about the situation. Sometimes you just got to let it ride out. And sometimes when it rides out, guess what? It works out for the good of everybody. Right. And so that's sometimes that, and you have to be sensitive in your spirit to know when those moments are.
And number 6 on this particular point. I got some other points on a separate section. So, but number 6, don't turn your non-biological children into scapegoats. Don't turn your non-biological children into scapegoats. Warn why this children, non-biological children, they can be preteens or in their teen years of age, can be frustrated. Sometimes can be very frustrating with them. Be sure not to blame them for all the problems in your family. There's problems that's going to occur, but don't blame them for all the problems in your family or relationship with your spouse. So you can't let that come in your bedroom. You can't let that hamper the relationship that you have with your spouse. That's a separate entity. The children, whatever the issue is, but it should not damage the peace and the wholesomeness in your family. Now that takes some strength to separate it, because you got personal feelings. You're a human being. You got sensitive issues. Ask yourself if their attitudes and actions are a true problem, or if you're more frustrated with something else. Finances, your own feelings, or being an outsider. because they may have certain relationships with that particular parent. Like I had to learn, like, now see, Christian, he has a certain relationship with his mother. When I met him, there were certain things, and he had a hard time when we got married, and he had his bedroom. Even though his bedroom was right next door to my bedroom, this baby had a hard time not sleeping in the bedroom next to his mother for all those years. And now this man is sleeping, sleeping in the bedroom with his mother, and the doors locked and closed. So many times we got up and had to tell the baby, get up, because he would leave his bedroom and take his pillow and sleep right on the floor at our bedroom door at night. So it took time for him to grow because of the closeness that he had from the womb of his mother with his mother. You understand what I'm saying? And then this man comes, and I mean, I'm taking good care of him, but that had nothing to do with it. It was him breaking away from being, and he right in the house in the room next door. His room was right next to ours. So, but the point is that he had an adjustment time, and I had to recognize that from the door, because this baby ain't been away from her, so it took some time. So we have to.
And I think that and to interject that, and see, the thing was, like, some of you dated for years, so your children get to know the other individual, right? But my husband and I, we met 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, he was saying, marry me. 6 months later, we was married.
5 months.
So my son never had the opportunity to get to know him like that. So all of a sudden, it was just him and I. And then the next thing you know, it's a man and his son. And even
he grabbed hold of little Shahid as his little brother.
But what I was getting ready to say was, it was a man and his son, but his son got to leave and go with his mother. So it wasn't like even Chris had little Shahid to be with all the time. He would leave and come back to us on the weekends. We had split visitation. So my baby had to make an adjustment so quickly, you know what I mean, that it really did something to him. And I tried to explain to my husband, like, babe, but and after a while, my husband did get it, because we would literally wake up to get dressed in the morning, whatever, and my baby would be asleep at my door. He was only 9. He was 9. No, he turned 9 that September. He turned 9 that September. We went to Disney. So He had just turned 9. When we met, you're right, he was 8, but when we got married, he was 9. And so it was a big adjustment. So my husband had to make that adjustment and realize, okay, like he said, this is her baby. This is all he know. You know what I mean? And so we had to make that adjustment with him as well. And then when my other children came along, we made Chris to feel like he was the big brother, and he felt like, it was an honor for him. And, now that he's older, he always say it was so much pressure to be the big brother. You know what I mean? It was a lot of responsibility. Not that he had to take care of them, but I always made him feel like, you have to set the example. So he said, at growing up, I made him feel like he had to be this perfect kid. And he said, you never said you better be perfect, but he said it was just like I felt like I had to be perfect.
Well, he was already that kind of kid. But the other point in number 6 is that your finances are left off, your feelings, or being an outsider. That's what led me go to talk about that. Or the way your spouse is, you may feel that your spouse is ineffectively disciplining the children. See, like, you may not agree with the way I'm disciplining them, or you may not think that I'm being harsh enough or harder on them that you would like. And so or too hard, or you could be thinking that I'm being light on the ones that are not your biological child, but the ones who are your biological child, you felt I was too hard. And then when the younger ones come, you want to say, well, why you ain't do that with the other ones when they were that size, or what have you? So therefore, I
did a lot of that.
Yeah, whatever.
I did a lot of that.
But the thing is that you have to allow, and because some things that I do, there's a method to my madness. You might not understand, because there may be other factors that they dealing with that I'm aware of, that I also know that I have to try to, like, balance it. and at the same time cut off the craziness that may come from the behavior from what they're being influenced by. So it's a real tightrope when you got that kind of negativity coming at you, and you still trying to stay the course with raising your children according to your standards and not being influenced. So number 7 here.
But wait, I want to interject something. And the other thing is, I think that it's important that sometimes it's like, but you disciplining my child and telling my child what to do, but you ain't using that same discipline with yours over here. I got a problem with that. And so a lot of times, we feel like, you want to cross the I's and dot the T's when it comes to my baby, but you don't want to cross the I's and dot the T's when it comes to yours. And I think that that's another thing that as a family, once again, it goes back to communication and having that conversation, because I think that where we fail at is, or where we have failed in our past, because where we failed at was bringing that to light in front of the children. You know what I mean? And so that was a big failure for us to say, well, you don't talk to him like that, or you don't speak to her like that. It was inappropriate. But like he said, we learn and we grow. And as we grow and mature, now we can have these conversations with you all and say, hey, this is how we grew, and these are the mistakes that we made, and this is how we fix those mistakes. Because I think that somebody even asked us that question. So what happens? There was a question that somebody sent that says something to that effect, like, so, why, if he can discipline my child, why can't he take that same discipline and discipline his child with that same discipline? And there's right, or vice versa. Right. And sometimes you just have to have that conversation, of course, outside of the other children, say, hey, listen, you know what I mean? But again, it goes back to communication. In any relationship, communication is always going to be very, very important, because what we think is maybe not what our partner is thinking, or how we feel something should go is maybe not how they feel it should go. And so the two have to come together and decide how is it that we're going to handle it.
And then number 7, maintain a sense of humor. Don't sweat the small stuff.
Oh, no, I couldn't stand that.
Don't sweat the small stuff. So save your energy for important things by not taking the little things too seriously. You heard what I said?
Let me write
particularly if you have teens in the house. It will be critical to maintain a positive attitude. A sense of humor will refresh you as the other parent. Humor will help you treat teens' behavior as something other than the end of the world. It's not the end of the world. Don't sweat the small stuff. Don't sweat the small stuff.
Okay, because I cannot forget my thought. Listen, because I'm so glad you brought that up, because there would be times when I would discipline, and I didn't physically discipline the other children, but I would discipline either by telling them they need to do this or do something like that, and he would always make light of it, like make a joke about, or do it like it wasn't, but it wasn't funny. It wasn't funny in that moment. It wasn't the time to make it funny, because I'm trying to get them to understand what it is that I need them to do, and I'm doing it with a voice of sternness, and he'd come back and laugh. But the thing was, and what would make me so angry was, but he would never do that with my sons. Now,
sons. What are you talking about?
But our sons together, I could discipline them. I could slap them upside the head. No, they wasn't grown, babe. They were not grown, honey.
Yes, they were.
They were not grown.
When you talking about?
No, I'm not talking about when they was grown. I'm talking about when they were teenagers in the house, and the other children lived with us. I'm saying at that point, but when they were that age is what I'm saying. You would not make light. When I was disciplining them, you wouldn't say, do make something funny so it made it a little lighter, so they didn't feel so bad that I was disciplining them. You never, when I had to come down with the hammer, you would let me come down with the hammer. You would never say, oh, see, that's what I'm saying. Y'all hear me? right there.
Right, yeah, that right
that
there.
Point
that
right,
point, that point right there makes sense.
That part, it don't make sense.
It makes a lot of sense.
If I was disciplining them in the same method by which I discipline my children. And this was my saying all the time with all the children. I say, when I give one salt, they all gonna get salt. And when I give one ice cream, they all gonna get ice cream. So it wasn't like I'm just gonna give you vanilla ice cream and you're gonna get salt. No, I disciplined across the board. Even before I had children, people know my sister was the happy-go-lucky person, and I was the disciplinarian.
And the point was this. This was the point, and you talked about in the last show and this one. We got baby mama drama with little Emmanuel Shai's mom. Then we had baby mama drama 3 times the amount with my other 3. Right? I understand this here. I ain't getting no baby mama drama with mine with you. And it made the world. No, that ain't no excuse. That was just the reality, because there was outside factors that factored in. So when you discipline ours, I could sit back and laugh and enjoy it. I mean, because they're mine, they're yours, they're ours. And it was different. It was always different. That's why when we developed over the years and we recognized what we needed to do. And number 8 point is this: be persistent. Be persistent.
Oh my
the
goodness,
process,
baby.
we good.
We good. If y'all gotta go, we love y'all. But we're gonna get through this.
The process of becoming family-like. Be persistent. Will not happen overnight. It's not going to happen overnight. So don't go into this situation where 2 people coming together and there's children from a previous marriage, a previous relationship, and you think overnight we're gonna be the Brady Bunch.
Even if you've known, I want to say that even if you've known the partner, right?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. If you're on a year, 5 years.
It would not happen overnight. Yeah. Caution that it may even take several years to develop.
Yeah.
To develop, but keep working at it. Don't give up. Keep working at it, because the benefits of your relationship with your non-biological children at the end of the day will be worth it. There's just no question about it. I heard Shaquille O'Neal the other day talk about how his father was not really involved in his life. He grew up in Newark, New Jersey, city I'm from, and one day he met his father, but he said his non-biological father was his father. That's my daddy, but my father was my non-biological, because he furthered me, he developed me. And I will always give him that honor for it. And now me and my father have a relationship. You don't want to get to the point where you remove yourself from the life of your child because the relationship didn't work and you done moved on with your life, or the other one has moved on with their life. So therefore you want to stay involved, but you don't want to stay involved where your involvement is negativity. You, through your bitterness and your anger and your upsetness, here, just take this child support check. Okay, I don't even want to be involved with the kid's life. Me and the mother, I don't care about no baby mama drama or no daddy drama. That don't mean anything. What means something to me is my children. So and the responsibility for that. So that was those 8 points. I got 10 more points, but I'm going to say those for the next show, because we're coming back.
We are coming back because
this is.
We'll tell y'all about that when we come back.
You got to also understand something about this. This here is real. This here is a very sensitive and critical issue here. I mean, divorce is at an all-time high in this country. 4 or 5 million people get divorced yearly in America alone, every year. Marriages don't last. Families don't last. Okay. So the point I'm saying is that if anybody told you the delusion that marriage is easy or they don't lie to you, or it's this lovey-dovey all the time romantic. No, that lasts for a short period, partner. You got to put work in this institution, because that's what it is, an institution to make it work and make it last. So when you come down this road, you better be ready. I mean, you can't be thin-skinned with this. Take your little sensitivity hang it on a tree, throw it somewhere, because you cannot. Because first of all, we constantly growing ourselves. And when we raising children, we got a mix. They got 50-50 of us. So now you looking at a child that's not your biological, you only understand that 50% that child, because you got to try to figure where that other 50% coming from. Right. And then when she, of course, you know, they say everything bad in my kids, you get that from your daddy. Everything good, you get it from your mama. Not everything. But anyway, but the point, you know what they say. That, okay. But anyway. Yeah, right. Okay. But anyway.
But babe, and we're getting ready to close because I know our producer's like, okay, y'all, wrap it up. Give us one more minute. Well, I just want to touch this for 1 second, and then we'll pick it up on the next stuff. Show. We can't close. It's so good, honey. It's an hour.
We control it.
It said somebody was, and this is a great.
The average movie is an hour and a half, 45 minutes. Honey, you watch the Titanic or whatever, the Godfather. You watching it for 4 hours. You're
wasting time right there. Let me get this out. This was a good one as well. About attending gatherings if your spouse. So say if somebody invites me, or say one of my children, right, who don't like him. This ain't our case, but I'm just using it hypothetically. One of our children may be having an event, right, but they don't like your spouse or your wife, whoever, vice versa, your partner, whatever. They don't like the person. Should I go anyway? No. Or should he go anyway? Mm-hmm. So just let him go.
I'll tell you like this is where I'm at. What? If you don't like my wife, you don't like me.
So you're not going.
I ain't going. No, if you don't like my wife, I don't care who you are. If you don't like my spouse, you got a problem with me. I don't care if I've known you all my life. Babe. Nobody comes in front of my spouse other than the Creator. Period. Nobody, no parents, no family, no extended friends, nothing. If you see me as your enemy, then you see my wife as an enemy. Well, if you're an enemy of my wife, then you're an enemy of mine. If you got something ill to say about my wife, then that's me. Not
there's no separation. It's not nothing ill, no enemy.
No matter what.
I just don't like no, honey, because I go places and you don't like somebody, you not going. You are not going. I could be close to friends. I could enjoy it.
If they fake, I ain't gonna be around some fake people. It don't have nothing to do with fake.
They fake. If you don't like somebody,
to me they fake.
So this is
I ain't got time for this.
Because then the other thing is, and this is a good point too, baby. Because I think I did this on one of my lives years ago. Just because, am I shouting? I'm sorry, y'all. And I apologize. I'm sorry.
Are you just excited to be home with me?
No, not at all.
That ain't it.
I'm trying to get you my question. And I wanted to say that because, so say if my husband and his sister is at war, right? They mad at each other, right? They not speaking to each other, whatever. Am I supposed to not speak to his sister because he's not speaking to me?
You say hi.
You can say, well, no, I think that it shouldn't be that way because my relationship with his sister, his cousin, his auntie, whoever shouldn't be damaged based on the fact that they having a problem.
That's another show.
So that's a good point. But even if it involves the children, so if my child has an event, but they don't like my husband, right, or his father, but his father, their father, and his wife can come, but he can't bring his wife. No, that's a problem. Everybody, this is me. I think everybody should be invited to the party. Now, whether we choose to go or not is up to us. But I think that the invitation should be extended to everybody, not just, mommy, you come, but don't bring daddy. Or daddy, you could come, but don't bring her. No. If that's the case, then don't go. Just say, if you don't want it, I'm going to go without you. Or they don't want to be bothered with you. What? I'm your wife. I'm your partner.
And I think that parent should check the person. So let me tell you something. Don't you ever disrespect my marriage. Don't you ever disrespect me. How dare you gonna open up your mouth and tell me that you can come, but don't bring your wife? No, then you keep your invitation, partner. Have a good time. I'll see you later.
But the flip side of that is that sometime if there's an event and you already know you ain't gonna go, you're gonna be the sour apple in the party. Keep your behind home. That's how I feel about it. If you're gonna be,
thank you for joining us, Marriage Motivated Moments.
All right,
we look forward to seeing y'all again on May 25th. That'll be Wednesday at 7 p.m. We're gonna have some special guests that's gonna take this conversation to a whole nother level and some serious testimonies to enlighten you. So please have your family, your friends. Do the next broadcast. Bring your kids to listen to this so they can hear and maybe they'll see some things and hear some things from some other folks that experience this thing just as we have, that maybe can help your family and help your relationship with your entire family. So the next one is a family show. So make sure you join us for the next show
it's going to be
Marriage
exciting.
Motivating Moments. Yes,
thank you so much for joining again.
And happy birthday, Booby.
Please go like, share,
happy
comment.
birthday.
Check us out on our YouTube page. All those wonderful things. Thank you for joining. We appreciate, and thank you to those who stayed all this time with us.
This ain't nothing but to have a show.
All right.
An hour.
Y'all.
Bye-bye.
Have a good evening.
Like we went over something. Y'all take care of yourselves. Be blessed.